We're at Oshkosh 2021 and speaking with Pratt & Whitney Canada Vice President Nick Canellis. Nick, thank you for visiting with us this morning.
Thank you.
Hi, Nick. We'd like to talk about a couple of things today. But one of the things is that technology is changing. And we hear a lot about hybrid electric, future electric propulsion. What's Pratt & Whitney doing in the hybrid electric game these days?
Well, I think it's very important to understand that we've been innovating on our product lines for many decades. Right? We're over 90 years of Pratt & Whitney. We introduced the PT6 almost 60 years ago, and we celebrated the 30 years of the PW100. We've introduced the PW100. There's a significant amount of technology that we've led the market through and that we've innovated on throughout the decades. And the latest generation of announcements that we put out there are regarding our demonstration of hybrid electric, which came out recently, where we plan to do ground testing in 2022, flight testing in 2024 as part of the demonstrator, and continue to then look at how we can apply that technology, which we're putting on a Dash 8, and demonstrating up to 30% fuel burn reduction in CO2 emissions as a result, and leverage that technology then for the rest of the market segments. We've been doing this and approaching technology in this way for many decades. And look at the PT6, for instance. The PT6, although it might have been introduced, the first one over 60 years ago, the latest generation PT6E series has taken a significant leap forward as the technology has evolved. It's the first engine to have a dual channel FADEC for a general aviation turboprop. It introduced a significant amount more power and performance and integration of the engine as a system. It accompanied that with services. It's a fully connected engine, so we know everything about what's going on in the data and monitor it well before anything comes up, and we can then guide the customers. All that technology was the latest level, and we've been able to integrate that engine, and it's been a highly successful engine on a highly successful DC-12 NGX platform. So we're not afraid, to push the envelope and learn and lead the general aviation space as we do, some of the other segments, and really then take that information, take that understanding, and push it out into all of our products. And one thing that we've done as well is sustainable aviation fuel. We believed in the opportunity of sustainable aviation fuel, and almost 2 decades ago, we began the process of demonstrating that. And we have been able to clear 50% blends of sustainable aviation fuel for all of our engines. And we're looking forward to demonstrating the ability to run 100% sustainable aviation fuel. And we're working with industry leaders and our OEMs to see how we're going to be able to do that and roll it out. The biggest challenge is supply and how you move that fuel around and how you get it to where you need it. And we will work with all of our partners, customers, vendors to see how we can accomplish that together. The other thing we've done is we've demonstrated that we can introduce, we're the first ones to introduce a carbon offset program to work with our operators, and now we're looking at how we can leverage that by getting feedback from all of our OEMs and operators in the general aviation space as well, and how we can introduce that in our other segments and give customers options. The whole point for us is we work with our OEMs, we work with our operators, we learn everything about what their needs are and how they're evolving over time, and we focus on how we can then introduce features, services, innovation, and technology, blend that together, the right level of technology for the market segment to provide the biggest benefit for all of these OEMs and operators going forward. So lots of runway for the turbine, the turboprop engines as we adapt that technology going forward. It's not about eliminating, it's about adapting, it's about innovating, adding new technologies and making it so much more beneficial for the world going forward.
Nick, when one looks at this pathway to hybrid, the way it makes sense is that really the best way to do this is with a twin engine airplane, so that you kind of de-risk, because one engine is a regular engine and the other one is the hybrid technology. What do you think the timeline would look like? And this is not a specific Pratt question, but industry question. What do you think the timeline looks like towards twin engines? You're saying 2024 for a test, but before do you think it gets certified and we actually see it in in commercial use? And how does the path look for single engine airplanes moving forward? I mean, how long, for example, there's got to be a pathway from fossil fuels to SAF and then to whatever comes next, if it's hybrid or pure electric.
You know, thank you, Addison. The challenge has always been what goes first, and really, for us, it's about doing everything in parallel. We are doing SAF demonstration and support in parallel. We are looking at hydrogen and whether hydrogen is a viable option going forward. We are demonstrating hybrid electric in parallel. So we are looking at various paths. The single engine aircraft based on the PT6 turbine, for instance, that's demonstrated the ability to fly reliably and safely for many decades now with only one engine. That focus remains within Pratt & Whitney. Okay, and frankly, we'll never back off from that. Any technology that we integrate within our platforms, we will be looking in parallel at how we can accomplish that on a single engine platform. And that requires a lot of integration with our OEMs, a lot of understanding of how the product will be used, and we have that. If you look at the decades of experience we've gained across multiple platforms, we have on the PT6 over 130 applications, utility, corporate, agricultural, aviation, trainers. There's a whole bunch of experience that we've gained, and we know what the market needs to safely and reliably operate a single engine aircraft. As a result, we're going to leverage all of that as we go forward for innovation, integration, for hybrid electric, for hydrogen, for SAF, to make sure that we can reliably support customer needs with those technologies. So the easiest way to answer it is, as soon as we demonstrate it, well, we're already thinking in parallel how we're going to make sure that it can operate both on single and twin engine platforms, because that is our heritage and that is where we know customers want to go forward. We don't want to change how customers operate. We just want to make their operations better.
Give them options.
Give them options of how, exactly, give them options of how they can actually, do better within their environment and given their goals.
I mean, we're in a fascinating period here with the watershed, right? I mean, as you mentioned, nearly 60 years of PT6, but now we seem to be at this interesting watershed of this move to SAF because of public opinion and this move towards this next generation of alternative power to that. Do you think that we could see commercial use of these kinds of things by 2030?
It really is an industry question, because the challenge is we will do everything we can on the engine side to enable this. The rest of the industry has to move forward. The fuel producers, the transporters, having it at the FBOs, having it at the airports. So we are part of the industry leadership. We're a key part of GAMA as well, General Aviation Manufacturers Association. We deal with all of the partners that we have within that organization, and all of the other industry associations to further that goal. So could it be possible if we all work together, if all of the industry leadership organizations work together? I think there's a lot that we can accomplish, and we've demonstrated that in decades before, that when we all band together, we can get this done. And we, as leaders in the industry, we think it is our role to put forth a vision, and that's why we're doing this demonstrator on hybrid. That's why we already demonstrated the 50% SAF content. That's why we introduced the PT6E series as a first, and many firsts on the PT6 as a result. So yes, I think I believe very strongly that we all can work together to move that industry forward and really give the rest of the market the technology and the benefits of all of this innovation.
So you guys are ahead of the regulation, really? You'll
I
be
think
ready.
We've been ahead of the regulation many times. I think we have no concern about being ahead. We demonstrated how to get a single engine turboprop, a long time ago, reliably, safely operating in commercial aviation, I think many years ago. And so we're not afraid of being there. We actually, we encourage innovation, and we encourage moving forward and demonstrating, that things can be done. It's not about if, it's about when, and if you believe in it, moving it forward. And I think the examples of the PW100, the PT6, the PW800, the NGPF, all of the introductions of technology and innovation we've put forth in the last decade even, and let's not talk about all the rest of the product lines has been a great example of that.
Nick, before we go, thanks for the future view. I'd like to bring us back to reality. And can you tell us about some of the benefits of the E-Series, particularly data intelligence and the intelligent engine, and what that's doing for your customers?
So, thank you. The E-Series, we're very proud. We spent quite a bit of time making sure that we talked to operators and OEMs about what it is they would want in electronic control. And I remember a few MBAAs ago, one of the questions was, what are you doing to introduce electronics? It's not just about a FADEC. It's not just about an electronic control. It's about making sure you have a whole environment around the engine. It's a dual channel FADEC, the first of its kind for general aviation turboprop, which has also included an improvement in the engine, more power, more capability for the aircraft. It's a connected experience, so you can actually know what the engine is doing as soon as you land, because it's got an integrated system. We call it the microfast, and a mini fast system that we put out there to get that data when you land. We get that information, we look at it after every flight, we can add more parameters for us to know what's going on. We can then quickly communicate to our operator if there's something we see that needs to be looked at. So far, look, there's over 100 aircraft flying. We've reached the 15,000 hour milestone on the PC-12 NGX. It's been extremely successful. The feedback from operators has been tremendous. We're very pleased with this because we looked at it as a whole experience. So the customer experience for us was extremely important. It's not just the digital electronics stuff, like how to operate the engine, how to start it, how to keep it within its operating limits, how to connect to the data coming off. It's also the service experience. Our PT6 Platinum ESP has been an amazing product, and people are really coming to that and realizing that it's different from the ESP that we've had traditionally, and it's really tailored toward the operation of those customers and giving them value based on what they told us. It wasn't about just us. We listened to our operators, our customers, and our OEMs to give them the product and services. So it's an electronic system, it's a digital connected domain, but it's also a service experience. We looked at from the time that the operator picks up the aircraft to the time that they have to overhaul and beyond, and really making sure that we innovate all of those aspects of the interactions with us. So the PT6 E-Series, we're really proud of the fact that we looked at all aspects of how operators and OEMs interact with us and with the product to make it as simple as possible.
Sounds like a great example of continuous improvement in R&D, and it's doing well. Thanks for being with us this morning.
Thank you, Addison.